What's happening, friends? Welcome back to Dynamo DeFi. My name is Patrick, and on this channel I talk about cryptocurrency, decentralized finance, and economics. Today's video is about an exciting DeFi project that combines some aspects of some of the most viral projects of 2021, and that is Vader. Vader combines aspects of Terra Luna, of Thorchain, and of Olympus DAO to build a DeFi project that solves some pitfalls that other projects have run into in the past and creates what I think could be a fairly cohesive ecosystem. So today I will talk about exactly what Vader is, where we might see it going this year, and then some of the risks of Vader as well, because I always like to talk about the risks on new projects like this. And before I go any further, I want to emphasize that nothing in this video is financial advice, and I'm certainly not suggesting that you should or should not invest in Vader. I'll do my best to give you an objective overview of this project because it is one that I've definitely got a lot of requests on. And by the way, this is a project that I did decide to add to my portfolio personally. So what exactly is Vader? The way they describe themselves is the liquidity protocol combining stablecoin anchored AMM, permanent loss protection, and synths with protocol-owned liquidity. So that is a big mouthful with a lot of buzzwords. And Vader is on Ethereum, by the way, so it is built on Ethereum. But so let's break down this a little bit. So it's an AMM, so like Uniswap, like SushiSwap, they will have trading pools, but that's not what makes it unique. However, that is important. They also have their own stablecoin. So they have a stablecoin USDV, which will be launched soon. And then Vader is the protocol token that accrues value from USDV. So this mechanism is very similar to how UST and Luna work, where in order to mint USDV, you need to burn Vader, and that's how it maintains its peg. So that's the stablecoin piece, and that is the aspect that it borrows from Luna. And then the way the AMM works is, or will work once it launches, is that each of the pools in the AMM have USDV as one half of the pool. So it'll be wrapped BTC paired with USDV. It'll be Vader paired with USDV. It'll be ETH paired with USDV, and it will be all sorts of other tokens paired with USDV. And now this is important because if the AMM is able to gain adoption, then this will create an automatic demand for USDV, which leads to Vader being burnt. Additionally, they have something called continuous liquidity pools, which is the concept they borrow from Thorchain, and this allows them to give impermanent loss protection. So essentially, the mechanism is somewhat complicated, but it allows them to guarantee that liquidity providers don't suffer from impermanent loss if they're providing liquidity. And that could be quite compelling. And again, if it's compelling for liquidity providers, then it means that they need to purchase USDV, which means that Vader will be burnt. And so that's the aspect of the burn and mint process. That's the aspect of the impermanent loss protection and liquidity pools. They also have liquidity incentives, so some of their Vader is earmarked to incentivize people to provide liquidity, and that's similar to SushiSwap or PancakeSwap or any other sort of AMM. But what makes them unique from other AMMs, besides this whole stablecoin feature, is they also will be selling bonds for protocol-owned liquidity, and this is the concept that they borrow from Olympus DAO. And so whereas most AMMs have to rent their liquidity with liquidity incentives, Vader will be actually purchasing their liquidity through a bonding process. And this will mean that they, for example, might own a large amount of USDV ETH pool, and this guarantees a perpetual demand for USDV, as some of the liquidity is actually owned by Vader Protocol itself. So pretty cool concept. Like I said, it combines some of the best features of a lot of different DeFi projects from the past year or two. and there's definitely a lot of hype around it right now. So so that's a nutshell what it is. And as far as where I see this going, I would say, I'll talk about the risks in a second, but it all depends on how well this USDV and this AMM rollout goes. If it goes well, I think the market cap is somewhere around 400 million right now. I don't have it in front of me, but if this goes well, and say they are able to generate demand for $500 million of USDV or $1 billion of USDV, then yeah, that's going to be a lot of Vader burnt, and a lot of value is going to accrue to people who hold it. And then, obviously the reverse is true as well. If they're not able to generate demand for USDV, then they're going to struggle to generate value for Vader. They do have some other interesting things planned to sort of help bootstrap this. They have an ecosystem fund, so a portion of their tokens, about 10%, are earmarked to fund ecosystem growth. And basically, their pitch is that they're the first algorithmic burn to mint stablecoin native to the EVM. So because they're Ethereum based, they think this will help them get partners, and then they're also willing to pay for partners. So we'll see who some of these partners might be and whether they're able to build out this ecosystem that uses USDV. But that is part of their plan. They have thought that through. That brings me to the tokenomics. That's a nice segue here. So you can see the tokenomics. About 30% was already, 30% was distributed to VETH holders, with half of that vesting over 1 year. So that is not ideal, because that means that there's going to be, most of the tokens are not out yet. Well, most of these tokens are out, but many of them are not out yet. And then you also have all of these liquidity incentives that are not out. So when you include those, most of the tokens are not in circulation, and that does concern me a bit. That being said, if we are able to have, if we're able to have a large amount of USDV, it's going to lead to billions of Vader being burned, because the price right now is around 8 cents. So this we'll see how much of a problem this actually is. But I will say that for a coin that you're just holding, and even staking, this is not necessarily ideal. As far as what you can do right now, really the only thing to do is stake. USDV should be coming out at some point soon. The AMM should be coming out at some point, but right now you can stake your Vader for X Vader. You can see 1 X Vader is 1.00735 Vader. So 7-day return is 0.1%. So that is not huge in terms of DeFi, but it is some sort of return. What is that? 5% a year? Yeah, that's not life-changing gains by any means. Maybe that'll go up. I don't know. As far as the risks of Vader, because it is always good to talk about risks, I would say the most obvious one is that USDV has not launched yet. We don't know exactly when it's going to launch. So, if we're still waiting in a month or two, then it's possible that people are going to start to look for other projects, right? That's part of the risk of being early. When you're early, you're there before everything is certain, and you don't know exactly what the ecosystem is going to look like and when things are going to launch. But that is definitely a risk. Another risk is that once they do launch it, there's no guarantee that people actually use it or want to hold it, or that people use their AMM, and a lot of things that a lot of their plans are contingent on people adopting USDV. Final risk I can see is the one I already mentioned about tokenomics. Fully diluted supply is quite large. So in order for Vader to not be diluted significantly, they do need to generate a lot of demand. And we'll see whether they can do it, right? Overall outlook, though, I think this is a really interesting project. Like I said, it's one that I personally did decide to add to my portfolio. And I'm really excited to see where this goes over the next few months and year. Let me know in the comments what you all think about Vader. If you have any other projects you want me to cover, be sure to drop a request down below. If you enjoyed this video, please like, subscribe, and follow me on Twitter. That's all I got. Until next time, this is Dynamo DeFi.